Alrighty guys, welcome back to the Saga channel. Thank you for watching. As always, what's this? That doesn't work. I was gonna make a joke about my platinum award and then put it with the other 5. But that's so arrogant, right? So whatever, we'll just get started. Guys, I would like to talk today about the top 5 mistakes that new or aspiring scuba instructors make, right? So I've trained over 2,000 divers myself and certified over 200 new scuba instructors over the last couple of years. Obviously, we run a very active job placement program, as we've talked about before in this channel. But it also means that we come in contact with a lot of with a lot of new scuba instructors, and I decided to just make a list of maybe the 5 mistakes that we see a lot when trying to enter the scuba instruction job market. All right, so let's do it. So mistake number 1, guys, it's not properly investing in your training, all right? I mean, I think this should be a no-brainer, but somehow when it comes to the scuba industry, people try to cheap out whichever way they can, right? There's a lot of ads flying around for free training or internship style training where you work for free all summer or whatever, and then at the end of the ride, there's magically a certification, right? Now, I'm not saying that all of those arrangements are bad deals, right? But first of all, purely from a financial standpoint, even the more high-end instructor training, like the ones that I offer, they're around $3,000, maybe $4,000, everything said and done. I can't imagine that working a whole summer or longer somehow equates to $3,000-$4,000 saved. I mean, if that's the case for you, then I don't think you're properly valuing your time, right? And secondly, while experience is important and while you should make sure to get enough experience as a dive guide or a dive instructor, I think exchanging the experience for the training just seems like a really weird deal to me, because at the end of the ride, somebody is now going to have to train you for free, which makes me wonder why they would put any effort in it at all after you've worked for free. Which makes me wonder why I as a customer should trust that you're putting any effort in at all. And maybe the worst of all is that I kind of feel like you end up in a situation where every exchange that's happening in terms of people's time for valuable courses, the word free is being thrown around quite a lot, and I just don't think that that's the best entry into the industry. All right, guys. Again, there's some trainers out there who offer amazing internship programs, so I'm not trying to shoot them all down at once. I guess all I'm saying is that people tend to pay quite well for the training that we give because there is an inherent value that's being recognized, and I just find it weird. I find it weird when people need to offer free training just to fill up those courses. All right, I mean, if you can't fill up the courses, then just don't run them, right? That's just my personal opinion, guys. I think starting your career with a proper investment and with the mindset of paying for good training and being paid for proper services is in my opinion a way better environment to put yourselves in if you want to make scuba into a career. All right, second common mistake that new scuba professionals make quite a lot is going in with the complete wrong expectations. All right, a lot of people go into this training thinking, okay, great, awesome new line of work. I'm either their salary expectations are way off, which by the way we have a video about that on how much do scuba instructors make. We've got some real numbers from our job placement network from real instructors around the world, so I mean, I think there's some good value in there. Definitely check out that video, guys. But yeah, going in with salary expectations that are way off, and maybe also with expectations towards the job content, right? Scuba instructors actually work really hard, so I think it's fair to say that you know, if you're going in thinking that you're gonna become a scuba instructor laying on the beach all day, it's just not very realistic, guys. I mean, those jobs exist, but there's also a reason why the dropout rate is quite high. This is an unchecked statistic, but it's kind of going around. People saying that 80% of new scuba instructors don't renew their teaching status after 2 years. And I believe that. I do believe, as a trainer, I do see a lot of people coming into it with somewhat naive, let's say, expectations, and they don't last very long, right? So, and that's fine. Maybe some people are just looking to do it for, a year, maybe a gap year type of situation. That's all fine by me. You have your own reasons, right? But it is important to get your facts right before you start, right? So have realistic views of what the scuba industry is like. I am not saying that it is brutal work. I'm not saying that wages are an abomination. There's a lot of people, a lot of my friends are very successful, very happy, and very have decent incomes. So I don't think that it's impossible. It's very possible. I think I'm probably one of the examples of that. However, go into it with a realistic expectation. All right, guys? I mean, you wouldn't, you don't go into acting school expecting to be Brad Pitt 2 months later. Is that the best actor example that I can think of? Well, anyway, just the same, you shouldn't go into becoming a scuba instructor with the expectation of being this hugely successful scuba instructor who works 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, and everybody wants to come to you. All right, it's not gonna happen that way, unfortunately. Number 3, guys, but before we move on to number 3, if you guys like this content, consider maybe subscribing to the channel, leaving a like or a comment. It really does help the channel. And if you're already a subscriber, you may have noticed that we're trying to make a bit more content that is geared towards scuba professionals, because there's just not a lot of real information out there, right? So we're trying to bundle this kind of real world, realistic expectations on this channel, right? I think that's something that's worth doing. Anyways, number 3, guys, is being too picky with that first job. Okay, I see this all the time. I train a lot of scuba professionals, and of course, job placement is a really big part of it. But what I get a lot is that people will forego taking a job opportunity in expectation of something better, something bigger. Now, I'm not saying you have to take the first job offer that you find. If the conditions aren't right, the conditions aren't right. That's okay. But it is very valuable to get some experience in there, right? It is very, very important to earn your stripes in this industry, to make contacts, to even have some bad experiences and just learn what you definitely don't want to do again. So taking that first job, even if it's just for a little bit, and throwing yourself in there is probably way more valuable than whatever time you're spending waiting on the perfect job, all right? And then we've arrived at number 4, guys. Number 4 of the top 5 mistakes that new scuba instructors make is, I would say, do not let other people pressure you into bad situations, right? This is so hard, guys, when you're first starting to teach, right? It's like I said, you don't be too picky with your first job, but at the same time, you do have to be aware that some places are just bad operations, right? And I've, as I said before, we have a very, very strong job placement network, and I stay in contact with the big majority of my graduates. We provide a lot of career support until, essentially the end of time, or until the end of my time anyway. As long as I can, I'll do that. But a lot of the questions that I get are from people saying, hey, listen, my shop owner or my manager wants me to do this or this. Or this just happened. What do you think about this? And yeah, there are a lot of operations out there, guys, that maybe aren't on the level. So you do have to keep in mind that, and I always say this in the training as well, it's better to lose one job once than to lose the prospect of any job ever, right? If you put yourself into a situation where something ends up going wrong, maybe they're expecting you to break standards, or maybe they're even expecting you to do things that are for now out of the scope of your experience, of your capabilities. If they're not sensitive to that and you end up in a situation where somebody gets hurt or worse, I mean, it could cost you your job, it could cost you your teaching credential, and because you're the one in the water, most likely, you're the one who's there when it's happening, that puts you at such a great amount of risk, right? So it of course takes time, it takes experience to figure out which situations are acceptable, which situations to say no to, and which situations are just there to kind of help you grow, right? So that takes time. We talk a lot about risk management in training, of course, but again, experience is key in that area, guys. But if you feel like, you know, if you're wondering if you should be doing it, it's because you probably should not be doing it, right? So that's the answer right there. Alrighty, guys, and then we've arrived at number 5 of our top 5 mistakes that new scuba professionals make, right? So, and I would say the 5th mistake, definitely with the eye on longevity, on career longevity in the industry, is you have got to keep training, right? You need to keep pursuing greater heights or depths, however you want to put it, right? So what do I mean by that, guys? It's just really important. I pursue training once a year for myself. I usually think of ways that I can also monetize that training afterwards. Maybe it's a new instructor credential that I'm pursuing. You know, my latest training was becoming a hyperbaric chamber operator in the local hyperbaric chamber. There's a small fee every time that I'm called on, but that wasn't my main motivator. My main motivator was also that it just makes me a better instructor trainer, right? It just makes me a better scuba professional. And so while you should not necessarily pursue all the credentials in the beginning of your career, it is a very good idea to just work it in, you know, into your routine of regularly seeking out something new, something challenging. Put yourself in the seat of being a student. It's great for your empathy levels. It's absolutely great for marketing opportunity, because, you know, maybe your new training is something extra that you are now able to offer to your students. It's also a great way to network, guys. It's a great way to meet people with different interests, so I would definitely recommend that. So yeah, I would say, guys, definitely don't stop the pursuit for increased certification levels. I think that's hugely important. That was it, guys. Those were my top 5 common mistakes that new scuba instructors make. Let me know if you guys think that was useful. Maybe even if there was one nugget that you liked, then that's great. Then you can work with that. Like I said, guys, we're trying to gear the channel towards scuba professionals or aspiring scuba professionals as sort of a hub, which is very realistic, down-to-earth information, which may or may not work for your particular location, of course. But if you do like videos like this, definitely hit that subscribe button, the like button as well, or just give us feedback. Not only does it help the channel, but it also lets us know what information is useful for you guys, and we can that way gear videos towards you. Alrighty, so thank you guys for being with us, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.